Hi guys, welcome to another SCPH replay sent in by the community. This time, gonna be a PVZ. Aliens are abound. And introducing our players here on the top left, we got SC2PH, GeoHenPH. Dude, the Pinoy pride on this guy, right? But on the flip side, on the bottom right, it's gonna be the Blue Protoss of NascentVice playing on, already setting up the pylon, and joining me yet again is gonna be Zendex. So PVC Zen, what are you expecting from this one? This is a little different from what we've done so far.
Yeah, so Pulse vs. Rig is actually one of the more balanced matchups out of the 9 possible matchups in this game. Anything can happen. Either side can go aggressive. They can go all in cheese. They can go for mid game strategies by taking those 2 gateways or 3 base from Zerg. Or they can even go a full hour matchup like Protoss goes for the Stargate tech and Zerg goes the distance with Hive Ultralisks.
Yeah,
So
so
a lot of things can happen here.
I feel like that is completely true, but now we are gonna get the hatch first into the pool here for GeoHen. In the meantime, NascentVice going for the Forge! First and foremost, so does this mean, will this actually be a
Yeah, it's a
cannon
cannon.
rush? Yeah,
They got
there you go!
cannons.
Cannon rush is starting with a pylon triplicate here from NascentVice, but I think he made a little bit of a mistake. Look at that probe right now, it's gonna be on the other side, or is this all part of the plan? The probe is sealed on the inside. It's no, there you go with the cancel, and the pylon
Wow.
gonna be coming on in yet again, microing his macro for the time being. NascentVice really trying to break that one down. I think he's one drone behind, though he should have 4 to maximize that DPS. And there you go with the cancel yet again. So a cannon rush to start things off. GeoHenPH already looking to defend, but as soon as the hatchery does come on up, that is gonna be Creep able to block this approach. So NascentVice has to be quick. This is gonna be GeoHen getting the creep spread already starting. Will NascentVice go for another one? This does have range onto that hatchery, but still, GeoHen right now not panicking. Spore Crawler behind. Does he have any units that can deal with this? Oh no, more cannons are coming. Now what do you think, Zen? Do you think he should have canceled this, or will this be a fruitful endeavor to fight this off?
I think it's advisable just give this one a try until 1 or 2 cannons fall down. He is investing in gas back at home, and so GeoHenPH, he is not yet dead. He is forced to cancel one of those spine crawlers, and GeoHen, he is going to invest into earlier roaches just to fend off this cannon harassment. So the cannon strategy in the Zerg Protoss matchup is less effective just because of the creep, as you mentioned. So one spine crawler already up and running. That will be the uproots. Roaches will be coming out as well.
Ooh.
And let's see if he can destroy one cannon, but the roaches just can't get near enough. But here, one
Finally,
cannon, shield
Spine
going
Crawler.
down.
The Spine Crawlers are finally in position. It took a while for them to root on in.
Yep.
But 53 HP, can the cannon get the kill? One more shot! And that is 300 minerals down the drain for both players. Never mind, NascentVice can lose a little more behind that one. But I feel like that's a big win here for the toss. Forcing roaches early at the same time. Second hatchery going down. Now this photon cannon should be cleaned up by the spine crawlers before they have to evacuate thanks to the receding creep. You'll see a little bit of that blood, of that gore, a little bit of that sadness there from the spines, but job done. Time to go. Going for the tentacle spikes. The spine crawler already evacuating, bleeding on up. And here we go with a hatchery on the outside. GeoHenPH decides, you're gonna cheese me. I'm gonna get a grater and shove it all in your face.
This hatchery has revenge written on it. Let's see how he can reinforce this. Morphing some Ravagers just down below the ramp. One Roach, one Ravager, making their way into the main base of NascentVice. And he is just walling himself here, just tucking himself to safety. One lonely probe trying to put down some defenses. GeoHen though will be spotting that one. And we have already 3 Ravagers. 4th one coming on his way, and the Corrosive Vials will be taking care of these cannons.
Yeah.
And one thing for sure, Ravagers are very effective against buildings.
Yeah, stationary targets are a no-no. Finally though, a Stalker does come out on the right-hand side. The Stalker needs to get a little closer. Ravagers trying to go for the hit. Here we go with the spew. Still not enough forces perhaps here from GeoHen. He is getting any effective hits, and the pylon does go down. Arthos's pylons are a problem here and now, and we are gonna get a Void Ray here from NascentVice. He's gonna be playing the anti-armor instead. Here we go though with the roaches and the ravagers trying to take that one down, and the barrel getting some huge hits onto the Stargate. Still, he's not committing. Might be able to get out that Void Ray in time. Never mind, NascentVice decides to retreat. And how will he actually defend this for GeoHen? This hatchery might be vulnerable as the Void Ray comes on out. Cancels are abound already. NascentVice sending in the beam, and these biles have to be absolutely huge. Desperation Spore Crawler is coming on up. Bile gonna hit his own hatchery, burning it on up yet again. Zergling style funnel, and the Lings trying to get on the inside, but photon cannons are in position, and the prismatic alignment should be able to clean this one up. Bring around the Rosie, a pallet full of posies, Ravagers, they all fall down.
Yeah, and GeoHen has rallied a couple of drones from his main base straight downwards, but the Void Ray gives up on the taking out this proxy base here. I think GeoHen will have some decent positioning here. 2 Void Rays already out. See if the Queen will be enough. Crossing Files will be having a hard time sniping these off the map, but the Stalkers will be making quick work of this proxy base. Fresh out from the creep.
NascentVice able to dodge the bile this time. That one Void Ray at 8 HP getting hit by 2 biles a while ago. Queen Focus Fire gets rid of the laser beam, but this time another hatchery will go down. Sure, Broodlings might get value eggs right now. Desperation as well with some drones, but this hatchery ticking away at its life, blood for blood. So at the same time, we are getting to see Lairtech here and now from our Zerg player. He is gonna go for the second base as well. Drones being chased after. Doesn't care about the hatchery anymore.
The proxy though of NascentVice is being restored with this time with a shield battery.
Oh, we go again.
Tech.
This game, what a back and forth so far. Playing
a
base
literal back and forth
versus base. So the warp window from the Stalkers taking a while. Doesn't have a gateway.
Battery will be coming up, and I think they can deny this natural expansion of GeoHen.
Yeah, it will take a while though for reinforcements, as I was trying to say. Doesn't have a gateway nearby, no nexus point whatsoever, so the warp in is more or less around 12-13 seconds, that kind of thing. Doesn't make it into the standard 4. Still though, the hatchery now being hampered. This has to be cancelled here from G again. There you go. Mineral's gonna be saved, but that drone will be in its demise. At the same time,
GeoHenPH main base though is properly defended. He has some 3 spine crawlers as well as 1 single queen. Does he has heals up though? And here comes the roaches trying to defend. They are melting to this small army of NascentVice. And the second queen has just come up from hatchery. Not enough time to heal.
Yeah, transfusions.
Crawlers holding their ground.
So necessary. The unfortunate thing is it's not a full burst of heal anymore. It does have some healing overtime properties onto it, so it might not be enough if the prismatic alignment there from the Void Ray is at a maximum. Still, NascentVice not building up a gateway nearby for this expansion. Gonna be very useful to send in reinforcements a lot quicker. On the flip side though, already going for a base onto the bottom left, very far off from his main. GeoHen still on the back foot, has to defend, trying to send him some Zerglings. They will retreat. The Queen right now, very ambitious with those spines in the Spore Crawler. And we have a Nidus as well
in
on
the main base.
The main base. GeoHen was able to get some scout there with some Zerglings. Still though, recall here, strategic for NascentVice. We'll get most of those units back online. Void Rays though still staying on. So a little bit of a split action here right now. So Zen, by this point in time, the Zerg is really struggling to find an opening. The main base of the Protoss is well defended. What can he actually do by this point in time?
So GeoHen is pretty much against the ropes. I am not sure how he is going to surpass this very impenetrable cannon line inside the main base of NascentVice. So GeoHen, he also doesn't know there's this hidden second base of the Protoss. So Zerglings being totally intuitive here.
Yeah.
After they're skipping all that distance from the Nidus, they will just back and forth across the map. In the meantime, NascentVice is just wreaking havoc inside the main base of GeoHen.
Yeah, NascentVice not letting up whatsoever. Literally the first date already on the aggressive and can't take no for an answer, that's for sure. Nidus Worm right now onto the supposed expansion of the Protoss, but it's just not there. Probes still not being queued up though for the second base. So technically both sides at a 1 base scenario. NascentVice having a little more of the advantage, has a little more minerals and gas going for him. But
Yeah,
overall,
NascentVice is pretty
yeah,
much ahead on
yeah.
everything here. So GeoHen, he needs to recover. So he's just struggling to find where he can place his second hatchery.
So he puts it in his base. Proxy Hatchery instead doubles the egg production. Does allow you to get a little more of that army in exchange of having no extra minerals. So more or less, this is tower defense here for GeoHen. He is not looking to be the defender though. He doesn't have enough to build towers. He wants to be those waves instead. Still, it's gonna be very, very tight. As the bot, oh my god, he hits himself. GeoHen, come on, pay attention, man, pay attention.
Oh man, so GeoHen, he needs to work on how he can get out, how he can break away from this apparent containment set up by our Protoss player. So NascentVice has successfully started mining from his far away second base, and Nidus worms just coming out everywhere on the map.
Yeah, pretty random locations here. Jihen is just trying to find any kind of opening, looking to make one single play to bring him back to this game. Still though, the Screech of the Night Swarm gonna be in the distance. Zerglings loading on up will be a strike force to actually try and take down a Nexus point or two. In the meantime, more Stalkers, more Void Rays here and now for NascentVice, but I worry a little bit that he's getting a little too invested on these units. I don't see much in the upgrades. He's going for pylons, he's going for cannons. Finally, a Twilight Cancel here and now. Blink Stalker is going to be very effective with this composition. Yo.
GeoHen will be spotting the base soon enough. He is trying to set up a hatchery there.
Oh my! It's GeoHen! Wrong place to go, my friend. You can't build there.
Out of all the places you can put the hatchery, he just lands at that exact point.
I would be honestly expect them to put it on the top right instead, but I guess since the base is there, it is what it is. NascentVice right now trying to climb the ramp, so GeoHen struggling a little bit to actually penetrate with that high ground. Can't be like a Terran, there's no buildings to float. Still, the Void Ray should be able to get that scouting information at the cost of putting it in harm's way for those Ravagers. And now,
Strike Force
coming in.
Spots the base. He wants to remove this one and take over this spot.
Dude, this is King of the Hill right here, right now. I didn't expect this to be a control point on this map, Triton. It's a pretty big map. We haven't really talked much about the map. It's a pretty medium to big size kind of map. It's a square shape, so it does mean Zergs should be able to run onto the other side a lot quicker. But with the pretty much the chokehold here from NascentVice, who's already pushing all the way in, taking care of those frontline defenses. It's so much of a struggle for GeoHen to actually play to the map strength for his faction.
This four specific Ravagers has been surviving the game long enough, and they have been doing work keeping GeoHen alive, just making him stay in this game. And finally, GeoHen finds a spot through Nidus worms. Let's see how he can find his third base. As advice, he is still on two base, and as a Zerg player, you need to always stay one base.
Yeah, +1 is always the way to go for our Zerg player. And the Ravagers still kept alive. They haven't done much though. Oh, finally! One of the four, the first beetle does get taken away, that's for sure. Yoko Ono, heat your hearts out. As still the hatchery here for the top right. So should be enough for GeoHen to get back into this game. But still, it's a little bit of a lull here. NascentVice surprisingly unable to actually build with his advantage. He's investing too much on these cannons, some random tech as well. He builds both the Templar Archives and the Dark Templar, and doing nothing with either. I feel like this is NascentVice feeling a little too confident, a little too lax in his judgment. He should be playing more the aggressor.
At this point, like playing with his food right now, so he's investing in the Dark Templars. So he is trying to spot if there is any stray bases being set up here. So far, Nidus worms being laid out at the bottom left hand of the map. Let's see if NascentVice can spot this one. Looks like that's not the case, as the Nidus worm will be successfully erupting from the ground.
Here we go.
The Ravagers.
Probes in such distress, that's for sure. Dark Templar being warped on in. The invisibility making him invincible more or less, and it's time to go for the cuts. This one Ravager will go down, and the Nidus Worm should soon follow. The thing to note though is the Zerg is really exploiting more or less advantages of his faction. Nidus Worms aren't the most expensive thing. You can just throw them out in the open, even with this one base setup. Now, interesting enough, Now 2 bases here for GeoHen. On the flip side,
Whoa!
NascentVice on 2 base as well. Here we go with the aggression. And the bile finally gonna land on down. Taking care of a Stalker along the way. The Void Ray that's pretty much blown up in the stratosphere. And this is gonna be a cleanup on Isle Nascent, courtesy of GeoHen, finally taking care of that. Enough Ravagers, enough gas in the bank allows Zerg to do this. And NascentVice, where did it all go wrong by this point in time?
Yeah, NascentVice, he needs to spend this money. So far he is going to start setting up his third base here. And he needs to be more wise in terms of maximizing his units. So he just lost that army a while ago. So GeoHen, he has used up all of his minerals inside his main base. So he has to find bases too.
Yeah, that was literally life or death scenario. Sure, he has one base on the top right, but that could have gotten spotted any point in time. NascentVice, I feel, building too many cannons, still relying on these things, even though they haven't been anyhow effective after that starts. When you cannon rush all throughout the game, you're doing something wrong. Could have transitioned into something else. Look at his minerals and gas right now. 1.5k in gas can easily go into Archon, get some zealots of really good composition there for our blue Protoss. He went Stalker Void Ray and didn't get Blink whatsoever. Now here we go with the scout. The Stalkers are literally having a stroll in the park. And we'll go for the Nice Network. What is this? It's in the middle line as well. Just letting them in. Never mind. Surprise, surprise. That's going to be a beatdown all the way on 5th Street. And GeoHenPH cleans that one up. Nidus Form yet again. Dark Templar on it. So that extra armor.
Should be enough.
Yeah,
and also there's this Changeling. Just betraying Ire at this point.
Dude, the Changeling is the scariest spy of them all, okay? He can copy a Warp Blade, he can copy a gun. I don't even know. I feel like Changeling should be able to fight. Just assassinate anyone on the spot. Should be like
I think they're like illusions where they are just very slimy, or they just invoke an image in your mind. So I don't know.
Yeah, so what if you touch a Changeling? Is it made out of jelly? Is it gonna be the same texture? What do you think? What do you think?
Could be jelly. Could be the same texture as a Zerg creep.
But you know what? I'm jelly off. The Zerg faction. They have Nidus Forms. They're very cheap. Transportation, so easy. Very effective. Look at this. No traffic whatsoever. A long way from
speed even.
From where our system. That's for sure. Can I be a Zerg? I mean, Infested Terran might not be the best way to go for your life, but sure, sign me up, Freddy. And speaking of that one, just the patch notes. Oh my God, GeoHen, can you please be careful with those biles? Almost walks into that one. Queens are there. The slow march to get up on top, and the natural in a bad spot. Here we go with an Archon here from NascentVice, but only one might not be enough. Trying to go for the Queen to allow the Void Race, and that Archon goes down. So much DPS here from the Roach Ravager combination. Corrosive Bile yet again on the Nexus point. Void Race still coming on, and Queens throwing spines up above. Here comes the Dark Templar as well, and finally an Overseer will clean up the TT, and GeoHen able to push forward. Creep tumors now spreading that creep, getting them to be quicker and quicker and quicker. Big transfusions also.
These two Queens have done a lot of healing for this group of Ravagers, and looks like GeoHen is on his way to reclaim this game entirely, as NascentVice has been scrambling on how to respond to this attack of GeoHen.
Yeah, NascentVice had the right ideas, had the right aggression, but when the game got longer and longer, it felt like he just didn't know what to do. There are really players like that, really good at the start, an intro point you say you will, very strong at the cheese, getting them up in the ladder, but when they're forced to play the macro, they just fall apart. Their builds just not really the best, not synergetical unit compositions, trying to force everything, both the Templar Archives and the TT, no point to do that. No upgrades whatsoever. He even has a Zealot and a Stalker waiting in the base, stuck between those buildings. Very unfortunate here. Void Rays yet again, and you can tell that NascentVice just falls into more or less these, what do you say? These habits, to say the least. DT and Void Ray, just the bailout button for any Protoss ladder player. And it's not really
the
best.
easiest units to recall when you're in the state of emergency. So it's because of the sheer amount of damage that it can do. But if it gets spotted, like for example, this Dark Templar inside the main base of GeoHen, if that gets spotted,
you saw it. You see that? It looked like they just lined up to die on that one mineral field. They see their friend trying to mine, if they just die. Swarm host. Oh, finally, Swarm host are coming into play. GeoHen, in the meantime, knowing how to exploit the matchup, knows exactly what units to go for. Nidus Network, Swarm host, good transition here and now. And this is really much the meta here for Zerg nowadays. Disposable units are the name of the game. too many things up in the air, and they're not really strong against light units. Go Infestor. Infested Terrans back a huge punch with their anti-air as well. Just those missiles. At the same time, looking to siege up ground, wants to just drain your opponent's resources. You go into Swarm Host instead. Disposable units, completely free. It's not the best choice, it's the Zerg's choice.
Sounds like commercials for Zerg, but let's see. Overseer deals with that very single Dark Templar. There's another one
Run!
hacking away on these Ravagers.
Oh, up in the oversight even,
enough.
getting some more vision. So, if you don't know guys, Overseers have the same thing as Observers do. Oversight lets them get more range at the cost of mobility. And finally, I think this is finally sometime we can take a break from all the action. Zendex, what do you think of Night Swarm so far? Do you think they're OP or do you think they're OP?
I think the Nidus Worms currently needs tweaking. Back in the day, you can't spam this as much, but right now, I'm seeing from the bots, I'm seeing in this game, you just recklessly spam them, you'll be fine. Just put him anywhere.
Look, it's time to go. Get in the bus, kids. Time for soccer practice. Even throwing is changing for good measure. And finally, NascentVice has more or less calmed down. He's on a more stable composition. Zealot Archon, always good. Even has charge, so this time has the proper upgrade for it. Interesting enough, has patrolled on the Overseer. The Archon gonna get that takedown. And we do see more or less a reset here on the times. Still though, I don't see much upgrades for both players. No +1s, I believe. We are gonna finally get Roach movement speed and Overseer movement speed. They do get a lot quicker for only 50 gold as well as gas. This is gold. I meant minerals. Am I playing Warcraft 3, man?
Yeah, so players have been really slacking behind upgrades. Only Vice has a +1 weapons done so far, but at this point in the game, I don't think it's needed to upgrade further.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but you know, it is what it is, that's for sure. And he's gonna be chrono boosting that one. NascentVice is technically only on 1 base, and GeoHen is on 3, so the golden rule of +1 getting even better. 1 + 1 equals 2, 2 + 2 equals 4. Having 4 flavors, easy math right there. Dude, quick maths gonna be making people proud, that's for sure. But okay, now watch this. Night Swarm Host. The name of the game is meta. Meta is always better. We always say meta is the way to go when you need to be optimal in your gameplay. So pretty much a lesson here.
You have to do it.
Yeah, this is a lesson here. GeoHen waiting right now for a little bit of that Swarm Host reinforcements. There's nothing really to take care of this farmhouse on the outside. Popping the eggs, doesn't even burrow anymore. Will decide to spit them out. I forgot to tell you that a while ago. They just need to show up. They don't need to burrow anymore. Burrowing allows them to be protected, to go for the old school stuff, but they can just spit them out, get on away.
Oh, the upgrade won't make it.
Oh, will the upgrade actually stay alive? 13 HP! Come on, Zealot. Come on, Zealot. You work for the Zerg Swarm, don't you? Attack it. You know you want to. You know you want to poke it with your stick. You want to poke it with your stick. As now we do get NascentVice playing on the bottom left corner, going for the expansion, yet again into the shield battery. It's good to see him actually stay away from those Photon Cannons. Still though, the creeps out here from GN, honestly the biggest cockblock of them all. Not allowing NascentVice to play on his main, more or less making the biggest wall of them all with half the price.
Alright, so GeoHen has been sitting on a healthy amount of supply here. So he has successfully recovered from that earlier cannon rush in that first few minutes of the game. But NascentVice though, he needs to capitalize on what he has left. And he is trying to push out towards the area of GeoHen.
Yeah, 30 army supply lead though here for GeoHen might be such a big advantage for the Zerg. The Zealots clashing with the Lynx. Ooh, huge side storm onto the Roach Ravager and into his own units yet again. This time though, NascentVice trying to go for the push. Gul gets surrounded. GeoHen able to get the pincer attack. And this is so dangerous for NascentVice. He's splitting up his army when he needs the death ball to be completely complete. And the Locust now flying on in. This is gonna be a land on down for these Stalkers to get taken down. One Dark Templar trying his best. One morph in though from these Overlords might be enough. The Hydra then though, woo, in a bad spot. Can he actually get? Come on, morph, morph, mighty morphin Power Rangers.
No.
Lets the Hydra then die. Sure, okay. Dark Templar right now. Who cares anymore? Finally, the Overseer is there, but who needs Hydras? Who cares if it's a Starcraft 1 unit? Doesn't matter anymore. You have Roach Ravager, you have Swarm Host. You should have a good tech tree. So more or less, that was a good fight there for GeoHen. His Roach Ravager didn't really take any big damage. So that's just more or less... Yeah, Locust coming in. As I was saying though, this was more or less so efficient there for GeoHen as NascentVice went on the inside with no real protection. Now the Locust costing nothing. A big effort there from the Zealots to try and clean that one up. Nidus Worm again, just sitting idle. And it's a bait and switch. Never mind, the Locust do expire. What can the Protoss do by this point? A while ago we were asking, what can the Zerg do? But right now, NascentVice is literally caught with his pats down. The return of the comeback, the reverse sweep coming in here for GeoHen. Twice the army supply. Pretty big here for our Zerg.
First needs to clean up the creep here. He needs to tech 2 observers, he needs to get some detection up, and he has to reclaim his half of the map. So right now, he is in a very horrible position. He is sitting at 2 base with his bottom left base just barely functioning.
It's not efficient whatsoever. He has so many random things. It's like you start a SimCity game and you don't know what to do. And this is pretty much what your town looks like. Residential, commercial, everything all around. Then you see a lone house all the way far off because you need one more guy in your population. I'm not more or less, you know, trying to say my own experiences or anything. I'm not saying anything. Don't judge me with my urban planning. But you know who needs urban planning when you can just throw creep all throughout the planets. And speaking of the creep, the Nidus Worm creeping on in yet again. Subterranean quakes just screeching to a halt as GeoHen will be spitting out these swarm hosts yet again momentarily. Roach Ravager waiting at the wings, and come on, guys.
He's just setting it up.
Come on. Dude, I hyped it up already. GeoHen, let it go, man. Let my people go.
Alright, so the Nidus Worms are far more effective than Warp Gates so far.
Dude, Warp Gates... Oh wait, let me say this. Warp Gates are the most finicky things nowadays. They don't work properly if there's no Nexus or other gateway there because of that cooldown. That's Warmos.
The Nexus dying so fast to this Locusts.
This is just not even fair by this point in time. So Locusts are range units, if you guys don't notice. So this is the same tech tree as Roach Ravager, Hydralisk, same upgrades, allowing them to be more efficient, to just stay on one, easy transitions left, right, and center. More Ravagers here and now. And by this point in time, 27 minutes in, you don't really want to stay on Roach Ravager, that's for sure. You want to be transitioning into Broodlord Infestors and or Ultralisks. But sure, if it works, I guess that's enough. Because NascentVice hasn't changed whatsoever. He's still on Stalker Tech, and they don't have Blink whatsoever. You would think, against Corrosive Bile, that pretty much lands on the spot, you would want Blink, an instant movement. Nidus OPS shit, that's for sure. But when you don't have Blink Stalkers, what are you gonna do? Because NascentVice gonna be complaining after that one. GeoHen able to more or less win out in style. Sure, we're calling it a little early, but this can't be anything done. Warp Prison Drop at this point in time. What will this accomplish? Absolutely nothing. So,
yeah, NascentVice just needs to get good, man. He had the advantage in the early minutes of the game. He had GeoHen by the neck, but he had to let him go, and GeoHen successfully recovered, and NascentVice is just paying for it. Yeah, so don't blame the game, man.
I mean, you can play the game a little. Zerg is really OP right now with Nidus Worms, but he had the game in the bag at the start, and he threw it away. It's like you go into a buy one get one promo, and you say no to the get one, and you buy 2 things instead. That's pretty stupid here. But NascentVice had a really good aggressive opening, just stayed way too long with the phone cannons. Finally though, his frustrations have been answered, and GeoHen with the 196 to 44 supply, 138 to 28, and the Bile yet again just smashing the Warp Prism to the ground. That's an insta pummel. NascentVice now cornered with these 4 units. It's Left 4 Dead gone wrong, as here comes the Roaches, the Ravagers looking for the surround. A little BM there should be enough for GeoHen to take the win. NascentVice not calling GG yet though. Maybe he has something else to say to his counterparts, but since... Did you see this? Did you see the second base? He has 2 more Nidus networks. He's building.
Oh my god.
He's building so many. I
There goes the
realize
GG, finally.
there's a GG finally called. Lurkers even
But he's
coming.
not leaving the game.
Damn, man, can't complete with instant transfer anywhere in the map. You cannot. That's for sure.
True
And that
that.
is why Zerg reigns supreme. Thank you, please, WCS patch. But GeoHen playing it well, exploiting the matchup, and don't get me wrong. Sure, the Linus Worm is such a strong thing, but that was GeoHen able to clutch it out on the defense. His Nidus Worms weren't pretty much a factor. Till he was able to fend them off. He was trying to go for some pokes, but NascentVice was actually ready for it. You would expect a Protoss like that to all in on the attack, to win it out already, but NascentVice was in a scenario where he was putting photon cannons on his bases, allowing a sort of defense to actually hold. Even these, the weirdness of his build worked out for that start to try and go for the attack, but GeoHen, able to stay still, goes for Ravagers for complete the heroes, allows those crawlers to come in position, and eventually win enough, biling it down, breaking down the fortifications, and that was just the beginning of the end. So what do you think, Sam? What do you think about that game? Give me some closing thoughts, especially on those Niduses. Nidusi? What's the proper plural? Niduses, Nidusai,
Night Eye, I don't know,
Nidai?
man.
I don't know. But yeah, tell me, what do you think about that one? That was a long one.
Yeah, it was a long one, but it shouldn't have been taking that long. Like Nascent Vice, he had the game, but he didn't have an idea on how to spend his advantage. Like he had he had a lot of money, but he didn't know how to effectively spend it. Like he was stuck on Stalker Tech for a long ass time. Well, Giohen just did well. He just exploited what his race can do, and he just demonstrated that in this game. And good thing though, Nidus Worms and Nidus Networks will be nerfed in the next patch.
Yeah, and I feel like that's very soon. But well played there to Jihen, able to get back on four bases, able to actually block the proper expansion for Nascent, and overall the Protoss just falling before finishing the race. So it was a good one. There was a lot of aggression. Sure, there was a lull period by the tail end of that one, but more or less action all abound. That's been us.
Yeah.
I've been Dax. He's been Zendex, and we'll see you guys in the next
Next
one. Yeah.
next one. Yeah.
Yeah.